Welcome back to Northumberland. We're out on the beach again. Sea's flattened off. Sea's lovely and blue up here compared to further down the coast on Tyneside. I'm just going to fish light again. I've got a few worms left over, bit of mackerel, got a few small breakers in front of us, and I can see a little bit of a dip further on, so I think I'm just going to have a very short session, maybe an hour down, hour up, and just see if I can pull something out. It's Easter Sunday. It's small, the tides are getting smaller. I think I haven't checked, but I think they're about 1.3 ebb, something like that. It's barely a breath of wind. There's maybe a light 9-10 mile an hour southeasterly, so it's really pleasant. And hopefully we can just pull something out. As long as we catch something, we'll be happy with that, I think. Just going to use the same 2 hook flapper, 2 up, 2 hooks above the lead, short snoods just to avoid tangling, small hooks, and just have a couple hours scratching about. Right, just going to get in next to this little hole in here, have a couple of casts, see if there's anything knocking about. I've got the same setup, Flatty Fanatic, with me 6,500 green Margalite. Also managed to get sand in the end of my rod, which is not good, but never mind. Right, let's get set up, get a bait out there. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit of mackerel on one hook, just a little strip, just bind it on, not loads, just around the knot basically. I don't like to use too much, it's still frozen as you can see. Just get it lashed up and down a couple of times, plenty of point exposed, plenty of elastic around the knot, come round, break it off, and then second one, got some rag from AD Tackle, cheers Andy, and these are sort of quite small worms. Our tide's going to start pushing in a bit sooner than what I thought it might actually, so I'm just going to get those lashed up. I'm using the same fine wire 1/0 mustard worm hooks, perfect for this sort of stuff. A little bit of tail on there. I'm just going to tip that off with another little small bit. So that's the rig. Get the top pennel hook, 1, 2, 3. Just nick that in the top worm. Pull it straight, and that's the setup. 2 up, fairly short snoods to stop any tangling. I find if you use longer snoods you just get tangled. 4-ounce watch lead. Let's get it out there, see if there's anything out there. Right, this has only been in about 5 or 6 minutes, but the drag, there's barely any sea on, but there's a lot of drag out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this in and then just whack it probably 45 degrees up tide, about 5 or 10 yards up, then let it swing round. Nothing on this one, but right, so just walked a few yards up from the stand. As I say, I'm just going to cast this 45 degrees, try and get out just beyond that last breaker there, then hopefully just let me gear swing round the back of the breakers Oh, little bit bigger than what I thought, that. Definitely a bit bigger than what I thought. Right, let's just see what happens with that. A lot of drag out there for there not being much sea on. It's pulled all the way around, which has enabled us to cover a lot of ground, but gets to that point where your gear's only sort of 15-20 yards out. You want to wind back in and reposition it. And I'm not feeling confident, I've got to admit. Just feels very, despite fishing into that kind of deeper hole, it just feels pretty barren out there, if I'm being honest. Water's so clear up here. Some gin. Just had a bit of a nightmare before there, me dreaded crack off. Must have been a nick in the line because it started to fluff up, put my thumb on the spool. As soon as I put any pressure on it, just totally, well, it just snapped basically, which is very, very frustrating, I can tell you. So I've had to put on a new rig, but to be honest, we're about an hour into the flood. It feels like there's a tiny bit of weight on this, but it's probably not, listen. We're about an hour into the flood and it's a beautiful day, but the fishing is pretty slow. I think it's quite barren out there, so I'm going to just pile the last of the worms that I've got on, have one more chuck, and then I think that'll probably be it. So I can see I've just had to change rigs. I'm still using a watch style lead. That's actually a carp lead, that, but you can, I don't know if you can see that there, it's kind of the same principle. It's got those kind of grippy bits on it there just to give it a little bit more grip on the seabed, but still moving around. So get these last worms on, see if we can catch anything. Right, this is going to be the last cast. Moved about 30 yards down the beach because there was nothing up there. There's a bit of a hole in front of us, so one last cast to see if I can salvage a fish and salvage the session with the fish. So much pull out here at the minute. It's I'm very surprised at how much tide there actually is. Come on. Right, well, I think that's the end of a very quick and very fruitless session. I've switched over to a grip lead, and that's certainly doing its job out there, that's for sure. Well, it's been nice to get out for a couple hours, but in terms of fishing, absolutely fruitless. So, as always, hope you've been getting a few. Thanks for watching. Tight lines, keep fishing. We'll see you soon.